fantastic broadcast. I think you guys are really going to love it. I am doing the long-awaited round braid with leather, and I think you guys are going to really just dig it so hard. I just love it. Let me see if I can pull you guys up here so I can see who's here. And yes, whoops, and of course I don't have it on silent as always. I can see you guys perfect. And you guys can see me, I think. Yes. And I believe I can also see all of you guys that are on our YouTube channel as well. Well, welcome to everybody. We're going to have, as I said, we're going to have a fun time today. Yes. And you can see I'm sitting in front of a whole bunch of boxes because, as you guys know, we've announced it last week. We're actually moving our offices to kind of give us a little more space, as well as a dedicated filming facility. So soon you won't see me sitting in front of a bunch of packing boxes. You'll actually see me sitting in our very own filming studio. So I can't wait for that. So let's just make sure I can see you guys as well, and I'm going to let everybody jump on here, but I think I've got everybody up and running, and in all of the many places that we stream now. Just as a reminder, I'm Kate Richburg from beadshop.com, and you can find our live broadcasts every Wednesday and Friday right here on whatever streaming device you're using. You can find us on our Facebook page, beadshop.com, on our YouTube channel, also beadshop.com, and right on our website, right on our Facebook Live page at, again, beadshop.com. All of our live video broadcasts are archived, so you can find them later. And this particular project that I'm doing today, this is, let me grab it over here, it's the round braid bracelet. I'm calling it the Archer because it has some of these really cool crossed arrow button that I love this button so much. And so you can find it right on our website at beadshop.com under the Archer. So that's the story there. So I'm going to turn this camera around so you guys can see what I can see, and we're going to get started with our project. So bear with me here while I do a little bit of rearranging here. You can see, again, I'm sorry about the boxes that you guys can see, but you know what? That just means we're moving, and it's really exciting. You can see also all of my social media and my messy desk there. Let me see if I can get us going. I also have you guys on, there we go, I have to move this, on the tripod here so you guys can see pretty well. So again, bear with me here for just a second as I move around and get you guys going. But we are so excited. One of the main reasons that we are so excited about our move is, of course, our dedicated filming studio. So soon you won't have to see me with all of these kind of funny put together broadcasts moving the camera and everything. So it'll be all that much more exciting. It's going to be a lot of work to move, but we cannot wait. There we go. I think that looks pretty good. I've got you guys in there. Let me move this around, and you guys can see all the stuff. And I'm going to adjust everything so we're not at an angle. And we'll be ready to go. Ta-da! There we go. You can see my messy view. That's perfect. So again, sorry it's a little bumpity bump, but I think I've got it. I think so. Let me go ahead and turn off the beadshop.com branding so it's not in the way. And I think I can see everybody. Let's see, any questions? Good. Everyone's here too. That's all so awesome. Yes, I'm sitting in front of Box Mountain. So we're going to start packing up soon. Our move is going to be probably about in the middle of January. So stay tuned to our newsletters and all kinds of things like that, so you guys will see everything up to the minute news of our move in our brand new space. It's going to be so awesome. So let me show you guys what we've got here. First, I want to show you some of the materials we're going to be using, and I'm also keeping my eye on our YouTube feed as well. So bear with me, you guys, because I'm going to be like braiding and doing all kinds of stuff here. I'm going to try and keep my eye on questions, but I will get to them as soon as I can, when and if you guys have them. Okay. So here's the project right here. Let me get a little bit tighter in so you guys can see that here. This is the bracelet that I call the Archer, and the Archer is, I'm using 2 strands of deerskin lace, which is here. I've got it, let me get a little bit bigger here so you guys can see that. I used the gray and the black in this sample, but we have different deerskin lace. We also have saddle and the chocolate in addition to the gray and the black. And I'm going to be working with the saddle and the chocolate today. But there's also a recipe for this as well, so you guys can really decide whatever it is you like. I also, I'm using the 3mm here, okay? I also have started to create one that I'm going to show you a little bit more. I'm using also the 5mm as well, and this is the 5mm in saddle, and you can see it's a little wider, and I'll just kind of hold it up so you can see. And there's a couple of more little differences that I'm going to share with you, but the braiding and everything is really the same, and it's actually pretty easy. I've been working on this all week. And hello everybody, it's great to see all of you, not only on our YouTube channel, but also on our Facebook page. It's great to have all of you guys here. So what else have I got going as far as materials go? So I've got the leather here, the suede lace. I've got some regular seal-on, and the regular seal-on, you guys, is what I've done the button loop with. And the button loop here, it's just that regular seal-on, so that's what I've used. I've used black for the black, and then this color is nutmeg that I'm going to use with the saddle. But you guys, you could use any color. You can just adapt this to whatever colors you like. We have a lot of seal-on in the browns, which look really great. So it just depends on what it is you want to use. Okay, but this is the nutmeg. And then I'm using some 0.5mm leather for the ends, and I'm doing a silk wrap here. And the silk wrap, you can see, there it is. I did, on the one with the saddle, I've used the mahogany 0.5, okay? And then I also have the black here as well. And it's really funny how somebody mentions, Janice, you are mentioning bolo cords. That is how I started to kind of investigate this stitch and what was going on with it, because I wanted to make a bolo cord, and so I kind of looked it up and was playing around with this round braid, and this is just how bolo cords have been stitched, so, or at least the ones that I've seen, and I think it looks really, really great. So let me show you. This is, I'm going to scoot this over. This is the one that I was kind of working on as I was playing around with the bolo cord braiding. And you can see I've worked on this earlier. This one is about a week old or so. And my braiding is a lot better now. So I'm going to share those tips with you. But you can see, you can unbraid it. I'm still working on doing a long cord. So that's what This is a single color, so that's kind of what brought all of this about. Okay, so then I started to play around with it, and you know, right now, if you're watching this live, we all know that it's almost holiday time. You know, Hanukkah has passed, but Christmas is coming. And so we still have a lot of gifts to gift. And I thought, what a fun and fast and easy way to create a really easy project, a really easy gift that's perfect not only for us ladies, but also perfect for the guys in your life as well. So for ease of teaching today, I'm going to use a 2-color. Okay, in this one, the sample, as I said before, I've got the black and I have the gray. But today I'm going to use the saddle and the chocolate. Okay, so let me show you how I set all of this up. Let's start. And let me make this the screen as big as I can. And so kind of bear with me here because there's a lot of moving parts on this one. So this braid is a round braid around a core. Now you don't have to braid this around the core, but when you do, and let me pull this one back into frame so you can see it, it's kind of loosened up, but I can tighten this up later. When you braid this around a core, the braid is rounder and it gets bigger and bigger, or rounder and rounder, as you know, as you add more strands to the core. So this one that I have here is braided around 2 strands of surfer cord, and I found that the surfer cord was very supple. I tried it over leather and it was a little stiff, right? So I did it around surfer cord and I liked it a lot better. But you could do it around anything, really. But the surfer cord I like because you can match the colors and the core really blends in case you've gone a little loose like I have up here. Okay, so 3mm suede lace, 2 strands of surfer cord. This guy here, this is actually 4 strands of surfer cord with the 5mm suede lace, and I did this just in one color, so you can do it in a single color or the 2 colors. Okay, so I'm going to with this black one I used either the gray or smoky gray, or you could use black. You could use whatever surfer cord color that worked for you, but I think I used the gray here. Oh, you can see somebody just walked by. That was Mr. Fuzzy Pants himself. Alfred is here keeping me company today. It is true. Lynn, you could go around Chinese knotting cord. I don't see why not. I haven't tried it, but I'm sure you could, to just see, you know, how it worked. And hello again, everybody who's watching on our YouTube channel. It's great to have both of you guys here. Or both streams here, is not both of you guys. There are more than 2 of you watching over there. Okay, so I'm going to cut the surfer cord for the base. I'm going to cut one piece that's about 2 feet. Okay, and I'm going to fold it over and I'm going to clip it. Okay, so this is for my small one with the 3mm. All right, and so I'm going to put that aside, and the surfer cord I'm using, I just tossed the thing. I think I'm using copper, but again, we have a lot of different surfer cords that go with the brown, so it just depends on what works for you. Now I've also cut a yard of the saddle deerskin lace and the chocolate deerskin lace. And again, everything that I'm using here on the demo, you can find it all at beadshop.com. Okay, this surfer cord is a cotton cord that's inside, but we do have, and I think Drea linked it on the Facebook feed, everything that has to do with this project. It's a project on our website called For the Guys, and it's called The Archer is the sample for this project. And you can also find it on, I wrote it up on our blog as well. Our blog is called The Bead Table. So surfer cord is kind of a, it's a cotton cord. And you can see, let me unfurl it a little bit here if I can. See how it's woven in a circle like that? Can you see that there? And the cotton has kind of been mercerized. It's not really waxed, but it's been really pressed, and it just looks beautiful. The finish is really beautiful. So it is, oh, it's polyester. Thanks, Tria. It's not cotton. I should know that just by feeling it. It's a polyester cord, and so it is water resistant, and it actually doesn't have any wax on the surface to it. I know that Drea is saying that it is slightly waxed, but it actually isn't waxed. I actually spoke to the manufacturer, and this kind of cool sheen that's on here is just through the process of making the cord. So it's super water resistant, and we just love it around here, and we have so many colors. So that's the lowdown with the surfer cord. And the surfer cord size, this is, I think it's the 1.5 millimeter. We also carry it in the 1 millimeter as well, okay? But I'm using 1.5 for what I've got going on today, okay? So now, let's set up our board, alrighty? I've got my double strand of the surfer cord, and I'm gonna scoot this down a little bit so you can see the top of my board. Whoops, sorry, I didn't mean to get that out of frame so quickly. There we go. Hopefully that's good. And I'm going to get myself a little bit of thread so I can, oh, look what happened right there. Can you see that voluptuous kitty cat tail? I'm going to move the board down a little, and maybe the camera down, so His Highness won't be disturbed. There we go. Alfie, naughty pants. Naughty pants on a Friday, right? Let me see if I can straighten this up. There we go. That looks good. We're just going to have to see a little bit of kitty cat tail right in the corner. That's what we're going to have to do. So I'm going to go ahead, and I just have a piece of the regular Ceylon, and that's going to help me attach all of this to the board, okay? So I've got my brown, my dark brown, and my saddle color, or my light brown. And I've got those two. And I've got my surfer cord, okay? So I kind of want to have all of my, where's my, didn't I tie that into a loop? I guess I didn't. I was too distracted by that cat. So I make this into a little loop like that. I get all three of these guys together. Can we see that? I know I am having a red clamp party, aren't I? Let me get a little bit tighter in here, if I can. Sorry, our Zoom is a little funny today. There we go. Get this stuff out of the way so I'm not so... it's not so busy. There we go. You guys can see that a little bit better. Now I'm going to bring all of this around so it kind of holds everything. Like that. I want to try and keep all of my leather so it's flat. Okay. And I'm going to come in and I'm going to clamp this to the top of my board. And someone asked over on the YouTube feed, is this real deerskin? It is. It is real deerskin lace. It's actual leather. We also have what we call a compassion suede. It's a faux suede lace on beadshop.com. So if leather isn't your thing, then you can go ahead and use the ultra suede lace that we have as well. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and clamp this to the bottom of the board so that the core that I have here is tight. Okay. Again, sorry, I'm working a little bit off to the edge here, but that's just how I have my camera situated. So thanks for hanging in there with me. So see here how I've clamped it. All right, so I'm clamped at the top and at the bottom. You know what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to raise my camera. I don't know why I didn't do that before, so bear with me here. Just a second. We can see the full thing. So thanks for again for bearing with me. Tighten that up. You can see a little more of the kitty cat, but now you can see the whole board here, and I will zoom in a little bit more as needed. Okay. Alrighty. So what I have is the brown, the tan, my surfer cord, and you can see it's all connected right here to the board with a clamp. Alright. So now this is when you kind of have to futz around with it a little bit. I'm actually going to unclamp it because it's kind of now all tightened. What I'm going to do, and I'm going to get in real tight, you guys, so you can see this. I need to bring my other suede lace, my brown suede, kind of underneath the tan suede so that they're kind of the two brown are on one side and the two tan are on the other. Okay. And again, you guys are going to have to watch this replay several times, I think, because it is a little complex, but getting started, once you get it started, it's pretty easy. So you want to make sure that I have my brown cord on the top. Now I'm going to have my chocolate brown cord on the bottom. All right. And my saddle tan cord up on the top here and on the bottom. Let me get it really tight. Get up really tight here so you guys can kind of see that. Okay? Can you see that there? Alrighty. Bear with me here just a second. There we go. Alrighty. So now, once that's this way, I'm going to put this back down. I'm going to get it bigger again here. Now, the braid is really, really simple. Okay? You're going to braid. We're going to start, and I've got 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay? Starting with my left hand. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay? I'm going to take cord number 4. I'm going to start with cord number 4. Get a little tighter so you guys can see that. I've been doing this all week, but starting sometimes always confuses me, so bear with me here just a second. Cord number 4, I'm going to wrap it behind all of this business, behind cord number 3 and cord number 2, and I'm going to wrap it around cord number 2. Okay, so can you see how it's still over on this side? All right, now I'm going to take cord number 1, which is this guy, bring it around the back and wrap it around cord number 3. Okay. Now I have to kind of make sure that everything is snugged up. I don't want to see too much of that surfer cord at this point. But can you see how my chocolate is still on one side and my tan is still on the other? All right. So I'm going to take my number 4. I'm going to go around my number 4 here. Oh, you know what, Maxine? You're actually right. You know what? Bear with me here just a second. Let me get some white paper. you are correct. Let me grab, I usually have some white paper here. Hang on one second, because I want you guys to really be able to see it much more clearly. Hang on. Let me get that paper. And I'll slide that in there. There we go. This, I think, will really help. I should know that by now, right? Let me get that in there. There we go. I think that's clear. Let me get myself back in to the camera. Hang on a second for me and I'll get right back to it. Okay. So I think that's clearer now. Let me just do this and get back to where I was going. Thanks for bearing with me here, you guys. There we go. I temporarily lost my feed on the phone. Let me see if it catches up. There we go. Alrighty. Let me make sure I can see your, whoops. Sorry about that. Make sure I can see your comments here. There we go. I think I'm back. Okay. So, I'm going to bring this back in, scoot it over the kitty. I've got my brown strands on one side, my tan strands on the other. Okay? So, I'm going to start with strand number 4. And I'm going to bring it around strand number 2. Behind number 3 and number 2 and bring it around. Okay. Now I'm going to take my strand number 1 and bring it behind and behind strands 2 and 3. And you can see that's when I need to kind of pull it up, get it nice and tight. Now, I'm going to continue that strand number 4, bring it around, and I'm just going to do this in real time for just a second and talk it through, and then we're going to talk it through again. Okay? I just want you to watch me because it can get a little confusing. Okay? I'm going to get strand number 1, bring it behind 2 and 3, and bend it over strand number 3. Okay, whoops, get that paper back up there. Can you see how my brown, my chocolate brown, and my saddle strands are all on the same sides, right? They never cross over. Now what I want you to start to see, okay, is I'm going to get really close so you guys can see. Okay. If I, and this is where I started to kind of get, have a little bit of trouble when I was learning this, was that if I stopped or if I put my braids down or whatever, I didn't know where to start. Okay, so if you look at, see how on this side, the saddle brown strands, See how this strand is higher and the chocolate brown strand is lower over here? This higher strand, I always know I start with the higher strand over here. Okay, so this is strand number 4. Bring it between strands 2 and 3, or 1 and 2 rather, and fold it over strand number 2. Okay, and so now that strand becomes number 3. Now I switch sides to strand number 1 and see again how it's higher. Okay, and I'll get a little closer, Trish. I'll keep going, so just hang in here with me. Strand number 1, between strands 3 and 4, fold it over strand number 3, and tighten. Okay, let me see if I can get even closer. I'm also going to see, let me see if I can, let me see if I can brighten this a little as well. No, I don't think I can. Let me see. I'm going to put this down. I'm actually going to open the blinds here and get a little more light. There we go. I think that's better. Okay. So now I put it down. I'm bringing my hands back in. Oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Well, I look at these strands and I go, which one's is the highest strand, or the strand closest to the end? It's this strand right here, right? So I know I take that one. I bring it between strands 1 and 2. Fold it over number 2. Okay. Now I look. Oh, look, the number one strand is real high. So I take number 1, go around the back, and bring it between strands 3 and 4, and bend it over. Okay. So I go kind of slowly and deliberately so that I am stringing, or I'm braiding really nice and even. I'm tightening with every braid that I do. Okay, there we go. So the colors never cross. If you're doing 2 colors, you would never have a light and a dark brown on one side and a light and a dark brown on the other. Okay? So here's the tall one. There's the tall one right here. Right? That's the higher strand. That's the highest. That's number 4. So it just goes, essentially what you think of is, here on this side, this is the higher strand. I send it up and under the strands on the opposite side. So you don't even have to remember numbers. Right? Oh, here's the higher strand, highest strand, goes behind and up through the other colors. Okay? You kind of have to stick with it. You know, knotting is a skill like everything else. And so notice what happens. If you do it incorrectly, this is what it looks like. Okay? And sometimes I find myself doing that. If I don't take the higher strand and I go, oh, it's this strand, and I come in and I wrap it around, see how you have 2 of the colors sitting next to each other? That you know is wrong. So put that back. Nope, nope, that's not right. Oh, take the highest strand. That's this guy. Then it comes through, it splits those colors, and you fold it down. Okay, there we go. And if you unclasp it, you know, and you need to leave it for a second, it doesn't all come apart, right? And Lorraine, it's not that hard to keep the tension. You just kind of, with every little braid, you give it a little bit of a tug. It's no big deal. I'm actually going to speed up a little bit now to braid a little bit more quickly. There we go. And this guy, that's the higher one. Saddle through the 2 chocolate and around. Drea mentioned that this kind of looked like peanut butter and chocolate together, and I like the sound of that. The chocolate one through the saddle and around. There you go. And tug. And the saddle through the chocolate and around, right? And yeah, you don't want to add leather later. I cut a yard of each of these. And it might be a little bit long, but we sell it by the yard. You could probably use the half, but it also depends on how you do the ends, and I'm going to talk about the ends in a second. So if you make a short length, you could always wire wrap or do something like that to the ends. So just bear with me here and I'll address the ends. Okay, so here, this is the highest one. That's the tallest one. So I come through the other colors, okay, and down. Okay. So you can see it's easier to start when you're learning this. It's easier to start with 2 colors. Okay, and I'm going to show you the beginning again because I really want to make sure that the beginning that's the hardest part, like lining everything up. So now that I'm warmed up, I'll be honest with you guys, sometimes I'm afraid to show you like a knot or something because I'll forget how to do it on air. But I think I've got this one. I've been braiding nonstop pretty much for like the past 2 weeks. I'm just in love with this braid. I can't tell you. You could also, the deerskin lace is pretty cool. You could just use one side and reverse it. So there's a sueded side and a non-sueded side. So you could also do this too. Okay. So let me set this aside for just a second and I'm going to start the other one. Okay. So you can see it. All right. You could use your little clamp, your little clamper clamp, and clamp this together so it doesn't come apart if you wanted. You could do that just like that. Let me get a little bit bigger here so you guys can see. We'll get some kitty fur back in the view here. And I'll start this with the 5mm, okay? So you can see that. So let me put this aside. And can you see, I want to show you the top of this. It's sometimes a little funky, but once I take this thread out and kind of massage this down a little bit, it'll look just fine. Okay? So let me put this aside for a second and let me show you the 5mm. And again, I'm going to cut 2 feet, 1 and 2 of this surfer cord because I'm going to double it over because the one with the 5mm has 2 pieces of surfer cord on the inside. Okay, so I've got that. I've got my little piece of string that I'm going to make my loop. Okay. And then I'm going to cut, maybe I'll cut a little bit less on this one. Let me cut, I don't know, maybe I'll cut 2 feet on this one. Maybe 2 feet folded over. That should give me enough. Let's see how it does anyway. Trying to conserve a little bit of leather. Now this is going to be, I'm going to do this one kind of an inside out, so I'll do the dark brown and the light brown. So I'll do one of the sueded side and one of the brown side so you can see it. It'll be a little bit easier to see. So I'm going to bring these together. Let me get a little bit tighter in here so you guys can see. I'm going to use the regular side and then the sueded side. Okay, so I've got the 2 colors. All right. Now, I'm going to get my loop. I'm going to get this around so it's kind of ready. I'm not going to tighten it up too tight yet. There we go. So you can see, let me show you what I'm aiming for. See how on the end of this one, how the leather folds over nicely to create a nice closed up end. That's what we're going for here. Okay, you can kind of see that. Maybe if I tilt it a little bit more, a little bit better. We're going a little bit tighter. So as we line these guys up, we need to be kind of mindful of how we're doing it. So kind of ignore the core, and I fold like these two over that way, these two kind of over that way. So it's a nice, see how they're kind of coming together like this. Then I'm going to tighten everything up, and I'm going to attach it to my board. Okay, and attach. Once it's attached, you can kind of fiddle with it a little. You want to make sure that your core is in the center. Braiding with the two cores is a little bit fussier. Okay, there we go, like that. There we go. My hands aren't really doing what I'm telling them to do. We want all of this core inside. That's why the double core is a little tricky. So practice with the 3mm before you graduate yourself up. There we go. And you see that, how there's that fold over, and it's nice and clean. So yeah, I want the core to be like in the middle, okay? And so now I'm going to look at this, and I say that I have my 1, 2, 3, 4. This core, sorry, I'm going to undo it and get it. Bear with me here just a second, you guys. It wasn't really lashed correctly. Let me fold it like this. This might make it a little bit easier for you to see. Let me get a little tighter. Okay. And can you see how it's kind of folded over that way and that way? Now I'm going to get my cord, my thread in there to lash it down. That will really hold everything in place. I think that's better. There we go. Thank you. Thank you. Get that in there. Alrighty. And what Marjorie says over on YouTube, she says, the folded strand always points to the next strand to braid. Let's see how that plays out. I like the sound of that. So let me get this braid over here, and this one over here. Okay. So you can see I've got my light brown on one side. Let me get this a little bit tighter so you guys can see. Sorry, I was working a little off camera. Okay. So I'm going to take strand number 1. Pass it behind strands 2 and 3, up through next to 3 and 4, and fold. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to take number 4, it's the highest one, fold it back and behind, up through 1 and 2, and fold. Alrighty. Now you can tell you've got a really clean start. Just came out of my clamp on back there. Alrighty, so now which cord is the highest? It's this number 1, right? So I'm going to bring it around the back, up through between 3 and 4, and fold. Okay, there it is. All right. Oh, thanks, Lynn, for reminding me. Clamp the cord at the bottom. That's why I was having a little bit of... There we go. I did that on the first one, but not on this one. Thank you for reminding me. There we go. So the core is really nice and taut. Now, the highest one, that's cord number 4. I go around and tightens through. And here, bring it around and fold. Okay. The highest one is here, around, and at the bottom, and fold. Okay. So I'm using one single cord, but I've turned it inside out so that the suede portion is showing on the top. Okay. And that's all she wrote. You just keep braiding and braiding. And braiding and braiding. It's really started to rain here in Northern California. I can hear the rain hitting the window. Okay, so there it is. So let me show you that beginning part again. Okay, and I think I can just give you the verbal cues for that one more time so it's not such a ginormous pain. Okay, the start, on like on everything, you guys, is the most fiddly. All right, so here is my suede. Get that again. And I'll turn, I'll get this another 2 feet. I'll try and make it really super clear with my words. Use your words, Kate. Use your words. There we go. I'm going to do this doubled over core, but again for the 3mm, you just use a doubled core. For this 5mm, I'm using 2 strands. Okay? So let me show you how I would place it. Let's get our surfer cord, our doubled strand, one of the suede lace in the center going one side or one color, and the other one, so you make a cross, just like that, or an X. Okay. Let's get our, let me put that down here for just a second. I should have done this before. I have a little loop of Ceylon, regular Ceylon. Okay, so I've done that X. Here's my surfer cord. And we're going towards the middle. One color coming up and one color going down. Now, loop that through. Okay, so it's covering like that, right? Yep, just like a crisscross. That's exactly right. Now I'm gonna just connect it to my board. Braiding is always fiddly, right? Setting it up. Now, Lynn, what did you tell me to do? Connect it to the bottom. Yes, don't forget that down there. Makes it easier to braid when this is taut. Okay, let me get in tighter, and for the last time, here's my tan. Whoops, I didn't do that in the middle. Well, that's okay, because I'm not going to braid this whole thing. Here's my tan and my brown. Okay, Sorry, I'm trying to get them so I can show you guys. Sorry, I'll get my fingers out of the way in just a second. There we go. Okay. So you've got one on one side, one on the other. Then we're going to start with our braid number 1, or strand number 1. Bring it through strands 2 and 3. And bend it around. Strand number 3. Then I get strand number 4, bring it around, between 1 and 2, sorry, my hands, I need this piece to be a little bit longer. I don't want you to get frustrated if I'm having trouble. I know you guys are going to be able to pick it up. It's just that first braid can be a little bit of a pain, but if you have this happen to you like I'm having it happen to me, just reposition it, re-clip it, take a deep breath, and keep braiding. This one goes to this side, this one goes to this side. Okay. So number 1 comes around to the back and in between two and 3. You know, Ellen, I am always directionally challenged, so if I call things right and left, or left and right, there we go. I'm not always, I'm not always knowing where I'm going. Let me look at this again. Sorry, you guys. I was trying to make this easier, and I'm making it harder on myself. But you guys are out there cheering me on, so I'm not too worried. Right there. Let me fold it nicely. So there are my 2 on that side, and my 2 on this side. Whoops! And there goes my surfer cord onto the floor. Wah, wah, wah. You get this other piece of surfer cord that was hanging out right here. There we go. Sometimes you just have to breathe your way through it. There we go. Yeah, let Alfie get it for. That's right, Alfie, pick up my surfer cord. He's asleep on the desk. I'll show you guys in a little bit. I also need to show you guys how to close this off, so bear with me here. I was trying to make this start easier for you, and now I've just screwed myself up. But you can see, crisscross it, have the 2 on one side, the 2 on the other, and start that braid. We want to go strand number 1 and behind and up through 3 and 4 and turn and bend. Tell those surfer cords. I get so excited. Why do I always forget to clamp these surfer cords down? Clamp them down. There you go. There we are. And now I go with number 4 and around in between 1 and 2. There we go. That's looking like it should. Oy, oy, oy. See that? I want you guys to let me know if you had as much time hard of a time starting this as I did. But remember, crisscross, one color on one side, the other color on the other, and then just start with number 1, behind, up through strands 3 and 4, and bend. Number 4, from behind, up through 1 and 2, and bend. Okay, there we go. For pity's sake. And there we go, and you can see it's nice and crossed right here in the center. Geez, you guys. Right, thanks Trish. Who's the boss of this leather? Not me, says Kate, not me. But there we go. All right, so let me show you guys how to close this up. So we can move on. But you can see I've got both of these starts. This looks good. I've got this guy started. This looks good. We're all set to go. So once you've braided this heart, and the beginning is the same. Yes, Ellen, we always start here at the top, and then at the end, as I continue to braid, what I do here is, and sometimes what I was also doing is, I was kind of, when I really got into a rhythm, I don't want to jinx myself, but I was actually holding it in my hand and doing the braid around, but you don't want to get too crazy, okay? But the more you practice and the more you play with it, the better you're going to get at it, okay? So I'm going to clamp this guy down. Let me give myself a couple of more braids on this one. This is, again, the 3mm leather that I've got going on here. And see, if you put it down and it's this big mess like this, and I'm like, oh my God, where am I with this? All you need to do is bring the 2 colors to one side and then the 2 colors to the other side. There we go. All right, there's my brown. There's my saddle. And I take a look and I go, okay, which one, there we go, it needs to go around the outside there. Which one is the tall strand? There we go. There's that one. And there's that one. There we go. So see that? How I've kind of brought them back into alignment. So I've got these strands over here, these strands over here. Okay. And I just go around the back. Strand number 1 and through 3 and 4. There we go. And I've got number 4 and I go through strands 1 and 2. It's a little complicated, but you know what, you guys, when you have your leather in your hands and you watch this video over and over and watch me stumble through it, it's a pretty simple braid. It's called just round braid over a core. Pretty easy. You just have to stick with it like any knotting exercise or braiding exercise. You just have to play around. Now if you're like, oh my God, Kate, this is the worst, I'm never going to do this, you could just braid the leather into strands. You could also, we don't carry it here at beadshop.com, but you could find ready-made bolo cord, right? We also carry braided cord, which looks pretty cool. But this round braid, I'm telling you, give yourself a little, one step at a time. Round braid over a core is what you're doing. And, you know, just let me know if you need some help. But you've got this. It looks totally daunting, but if I can do it, you guys, you can do it. Okay? So, let me take this off of here. And I'm going to show you, yeah, that's right, Lynn, around the back, through the middle. I like that chant. Over the top and switch sides. Around the back with the highest one, through the middle, and fold over the top. Yep, I like that mantra too. See, we help each other. We all learn together on this. This is the part where I tell myself I'm never going to teach anything complicated again on Free Tip Friday. But that's not true. You know I'll be back with another knot in no time. Okay, around the back, through the middle, and over the top, and switch sides. Around the back, through the middle, and over the top. All right, so let me show you how I would close this off. Let me measure. I have my measuring tape down here. This is almost 6 inches, which is good. I like that. I like that size. For a length for me, for my wrist. If you're doing a guy bracelet, you can make it as long as you'd like it to be. This one that I have over here, the braid portion is about 7 inches here that I've got. Okay, so you want to take the finished wrist size, like let's say that your wrist is a size, maybe it's like 7.5. It depends on what kind of button and how much loop that you're going to use, but this typically adds about a 1/2 inch of length. Plus it holds, you know, it sits out a little bit like this, so especially this one that has some width to it. So I would probably, for a 7.5 inch wrist, I would give myself at least 7 inches worth of braid. Okay, and let me show you something on this black one that I did. This one fits me almost perfectly, but what I did braid wise, I had just over 6 inches, right? And so all of this closure, well, about 6.5 inches maybe. Then this loop added more length. But look at on the back of this button, you guys, what I did to connect the button. Can you see that? How I have 2 jump rings in there. I put 1 jump ring and then I put the button on, and it was way too stiff. Okay, so let me show you how I do that. What I'll do for the bottom here is I'll leave all my strands on, or together, and then what I do is I get some zap glue. I did see that, Drea, thanks, about adding beads, and Nancy, I'm going to address that in just a second. Nancy was asking about adding some beads in here. Nancy, you're not the only one who wants to have that happen. Karen wants to have that happen too. She keeps bugging me to put pearls in. So we'll see. We'll see if I can do it. We want to tighten up the ends so that the core of the surfer cord isn't showing. And I'm going to start to glue this down. So I'm going to add a little bit of zap glue on the inside. All of this is going to be covered up, so don't stress too much. But I'm going to glue this, and I'm going to glue this one. You can see I've got a little bit of residual glue on my finger from earlier today as I was gluing. You can always wear some rubber gloves so as not to get glue on your fingers. But I'm also being pretty mindful about where I'm putting this glue, so that's why I'm using my Q-tip to really carefully just get it down in there, and then get a little bit more on top of that one and get this one down in there. Now, if this were not demo time, what I would do is, and this were real jewelry making time, okay, I would come in and kind of clamp that down like that, okay, to hold everything together. All right, and I'm actually going to clamp that for just a second and set it aside. Let me show you the button side of this. So let me cut this away. I actually think I'm going to show it to you on my other one because it's a little bit bigger. But let me clip this out anyway. Pull that out of there. Okay. And if you need to kind of finesse it a little bit. I should have a pair of pliers here to hold it all down, but we're doing okay there. I'm going to get this guy that I have already ready to go. Can you see that? Let me grab my my pliers that Alfie is laying on. I've got one. Come on, baby, give up the other plier. Nothing like trying to grab a plier from underneath a sleeping kitty cat. Come on, Alfred. Where's that plier? Give me that plier. Give me that. Give me that plier. He's so not giving me that plier. Let me grab another one. He says, nope. Okay. And so here's this end, okay? Like this. So I'm going to get my jump rings. I've got a 6mm jump ring here. Let me get, you know what? It might, Michelle. Michelle was asking, wouldn't it be easier to leave the half hitch cord in place while putting the jump ring in it? Yeah, maybe. It might. That's a good observation. I like that. I like that story. This guy, I'm just going to open it up nice and big. This is really wide cord, but that's okay. You're just going to get it in there. And again, maybe those of you who are saying leave that half hitch cord in there might be a good way to do it, but I can just kind of finagle it through. There it goes. All right. Ginger, Alfie's waiting for the magic word. Yeah, the magic word is get your furry butt off my pliers. I think that's what it is. Oh, that good baby. I'll show you guys. He's just sleeping right here. Keeping Mama company. Okay, there we go. And then here's my other one here. And I've got the 2 arrows just here. Okay, and then that goes on. And I close that up. Okay. And so what I've done on the other side, let me get it a little bit larger so you guys can see. And see how nice that fits? This cord, you really want to make that start a little tight. You can see I used gray cord underneath here, but if you use cord that's matching, you could also add, what I might do is add just a little touch of glue down in there, and then pull my leather right over the top and in place. So it's not showing too much cord. Okay, there we go. And again, if you use a core that's matches, you're never going to see that. Okay. What I also want to show you guys, one of the things that I did to kind of even everything up, if your braid's a little uneven, I put it on my desk, on my table, and I rolled it like this. And that really evens kind of this braid all the way out. Okay, look how nice that is. Then on this side, what I did, I want to show you on this end. Let's see if we've got this. This is turning into an epic broadcast, but it's really a fun one, so I wanted you guys to really see how this pulled together. I'm going to unclamp this now, and so my glue is kind of set over here, okay? So I'm going to come in, and I'm going to clip all this away. I'm going to use my thread snips. Yeah, and you could. Yeah, exactly, Trish. I was thinking about using wire and pulling this end through a cone as well. So you can close it. Someone else mentioned on the YouTube feed you could use like a Kumihimo cap. You can close it however, whatever works for you, right? I wanted my my closure to have a little more of a rustic feel to it, so that's why I did it this way. But you could definitely do it over a cone. Okay, so here's that. Okay, so I've clipped all of that together. It's not coming undone. Again, you could put a cone with some wire up at the top. But what I did here is you can see on this one that I completed earlier today, how I've done a macrame loop. This could also be like a piece of round leather. It could be a piece of the matching surfer cord. I'm going to use surfer cord for the moment just because this is kind of, you know, a sample one so you can see what I did. I just did around a double core of Ceylon. I did the square macrame stitch, and I just did enough so that when the button came around and through, it would be big enough. Okay, like this. All right. So I've got my 5mm, or my 0.5mm rather. Let me get it here. I used mahogany 0.5 leather, but you could use, I don't know, whatever cord you wanted, Chinese knotting cord, whatever it is, you could use. Now, I always test this 0.5 before I do anything because it's thin, all right? And I want to make sure that there's no weak spot in it. See, there's the weak spot. But this is a nice, tough piece right here that's not going to break, because when I put my, when I do my silk wrap here, I want to make sure that I've got a nice, strong piece of cord. Tammy's asking why couldn't I use the wrap surfer cord to make the loop, and yeah, I could. Tam, I could macrame over the surfer cord if I like, or I can just let the surfer cord be, right? Doesn't really make any difference. So now I'm going to come in and I would have figured out what size my loop is over the button. And we have a whole video on how to make the silk wrap, how to do the silk wrap. But it's pretty easy to do. I'm going to get my piece of leather and I've got my loop. I'm going to lay that loop across my leather. And can you see how I've got a nice long piece coming out this way? I'm going to use that long piece to wrap, and you can see this end is just under my fingers. I'm going to use this piece to wrap everything, the 2 legs of surfer cord and the other leg of leather, nice and tight around the end. It's a little far down, so let me get a little bit, actually I want to be a little bit higher here. I don't want to wrap that much at the end of the cord. There we go. And learning how to silk wrap, you guys, is a game changer. I use it for everything I do. So can you see how I'm laying that one, I'll get in real tight there, one little wrap after the other. And again, this is a little long. I don't know what's the matter with me with my proportions right now, but let me get it a little bit higher and wrap. I could, Suzanne, I could use the center cord for the loop as well. That's a good way of thinking about it. I just made the loop a little, I liked doing the macrame over a separate piece and then kind of laying it in. I found that it worked pretty nicely for me. Now this is where it gets a little funky, so I want to make sure that you guys can see what I've got going on here. Since this surfer cord is a little bit thin, it's going to look a little strange, but I'll show you on my finished piece. So as I come around to wrap my last wraps, I'm going to get my friend the toothpick and a little bit of that zap glue. I'm going to add a little bit of glue there. I don't want to glue anywhere where this loop of surfer cord or this loop of leather is coming out, because we're going to need that leather to be able to move when we pull the silk wrap tight. But I just want to, whoops, I just want to give myself a little bit of insurance that the wrap that I'm making is going to stay in place. I'm going to bring it around one more time. Okay. So now with the end of this cord, I come through that loop and just that loop for the leather. And see how I'm pulling that right back down. And that connection gets pulled underneath my silk wrap. Okay? Then I would add a little bit of glue on the inside here, maybe a little bit here, and maybe there and there, just with my toothpick to kind of let it all come together. Then I'd put this aside. Okay? Every time when I glue, I always let things sit 24 hours. Okay? So then you can see on this one that I made earlier, through the magic of video, you can see I've trimmed everything, I've trimmed everything here, and that silk wrap is just nice and tight, and you can see kind of down the inside of that loop, it's all nice and secure, and that the threads from the loop are sitting there and there. Okay, and then it just comes, and that little extra jump ring you put there gives your button some nice movement. All right. Let me open this up. And that silk wrap, if you haven't done it, get yourself, watch our video and give yourself a couple of practice runs for it. But I think it looks really nice. You can see on this one, I was really tight as I wrapped it, and I added just a little bit of glue as I wrapped it around. Again, not adding glue on the loop that's up here that I'm eventually going to pull back down. But this is nice and sturdy. This wrap is not going anywhere at all. I think it looks really clear, really nice and clean. But again, you could use an end cap, you could use a cone, whatever it is you like to do, whatever it is that works. I'm going to put these on my wrist. I know I went a little bit long today, you guys, so thank you so much for joining me. Let me get this on so you can see how it looks. I hope you enjoy making these guys as much as I loved showing them to you. So we do have our project up on beadshop.com along with a recipe. There we go. I've got them both on. I've made this one a little bit bigger, so I might have to give that one to my husband. I think he'll love wearing that one. And so it has all of the ingredients, everything you're going to need, and just practice, practice, practice. I'd love to see the way that you guys decide to close these off. If you haven't been to our Bead Shop Facebook group on Facebook, it's called beadshop.com, the bead table. You can go over there and answer a couple of little questions, and I'll let you guys in, and you'll see a whole bunch of really great projects and a bunch of inspiration, all kinds of cool stuff. So thank you so much to Drea for coming on and doing some linking. I really appreciate it. As I turn the camera around, I'll pan over so you guys can see Alfred. There's that baby, that sleeping kitty. Can you guys see him? There he is. He's sleeping right on the edge of the desk, keeping me company. Look at that. That's awesome. And I also wanted to address real quick before I go. Let me swing this around and around and around. There I am. I'm a little tall here, so I'm going to bring the camera around. I think it was Nancy on the YouTube feed was asking real quick about how to, let me close the blinds here too, so you can see me. My stack of boxes for moving, so sorry. It's not as pristine behind me as it usually is. But what you could do is, and I want to show you this up on my wrist here real quick, what I was thinking about doing about adding beads, you could, like weave, now that the piece is done, I could use some wire, or maybe I could stitch with like seed beads. I can kind of in and out and stuff like that with this here. I could add beads this way. What I was also thinking about doing though is making these, I'll just turn it around, making these in shorter sections and connecting them maybe even with cones or with the silk wrapping, and doing a wire wrapped bead in between each one, I think would look good. Or you could just do some dangles and get a head pin, wrap a nice big loop that would be like a slider across here, and have a dangle go across. So I haven't played with it too much, but those are the things that just come up and off the top of my head today. Today we also have a new project. This even has nothing to do with the project that we debuted in the newsletter today. So many projects, so little time. I'm going to move the camera and I'm just going to flash it at you guys, because if you haven't checked your newsletter, I want you to check your newsletter. Here is the project that I've got here. I did it on a Facebook Live a while back. It's memory wire and carrier beads. And this project is called Snowstorm, I think is what I called it. It's up on the blog and on the blog from Free Tip Friday, and it's a project on the website. And I think it's a great one for kind of holiday dressing, kind of a Wonder Woman cuff. It's pretty cool, I think. I like it a lot. So, so there it is. I think you guys will really dig it. We'll link the Free Tip Friday will be on the homepage in just a little bit. Karen links them, uploads the video and stuff as well. So it'll all be up on the website in just a little bit. So you'll be able to find it on the homepage there again. But it's called The Archer. So you guys can find that right on our website. Okay, I've been using this word a lot lately, but epic. It was an epic show today. I hope you guys had fun. On Wednesday for Free Tip Friday, I'm going, or on Wednesday for Facebook Live, I'm going solo. Janice and I were kind of designing this fun chain lariat, so we're going to work with some more chain. And we've got some new beads that we're debuting that I know you guys are going to love. Metal drops, all kinds of great things. We're going to delve into the world of rosary loops, just round loops, and how those combine with jump rings to create chain. So that's what's happening next week on Facebook Live. So thanks for joining me on this journey of the Archer and this sneak peek of our brand new project that's up, the memory wire cuff using the carrier beads. Thank you so very much. Have a fantastic and creative weekend, and I will see you guys on Wednesday for Facebook Live. Thanks so much. Talk to you guys soon.